We're back with the Screen Team. We are doing Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan films for you today, and our last review is probably one of the best. It's called Sleepless in Seattle. Stars Tom Hanks, stars Meg Ryan. It's a wonderful, wonderful film. We'll get into our thoughts on it. We've got Sue here to guest review, and Sue, you wanted to give your thoughts, but also some other folks' thoughts on this, right?
I think, as I said earlier, Roger Ebert is one of my favorite critics of all time, and I wanted to start out with what he had to say, but I also want to start out because we talked about You've Got Mail, and we talked about computer contact, and there's not that so much. This one is radio, and I goes to tell you that radio is not dead, and we
That's
all
right.
listen to radio. So I wanted to talk out and say what Roger Ebert said. If love at first sight is a reality, then in this information age, there should also be a possibility of love at first cyber contact. When people meet via computers or personal ads or phone and radio shows, when their first sight of each other is through a communications medium, isn't it still possible that some essential chemistry is communicated? That in the light in an eye can somehow be implied even over thousands of miles. And I think that that's part of the personality of our disc jockeys. I don't know if we call them DJs anymore.
You can call me whatever you want. It's
but
cool.
But our radio personalities, they come out and we fall in love with them in the same way. There's different types of love, people, just reminding you.
My ego is getting so huge right now. You just keep going, Sue. Just keep going.
Well, anyway, and that's what happens here, is that we have Sam, the father, and Sam's lost the love of his wife. His wife. Yeah, his wife. And he's living in Chicago, and in order to try to make a change and to try to start over, he takes his son Jonah, who is 8, to Seattle, a long way away.
Yeah.
And they move to Seattle, and Jonah knows that his father is sad, and he doesn't want his dad to be sad. And on Christmas Eve, he starts listening to a radio program. It's one of those call-in radio shows in which a person gives love advice, and it's Dr. Marcia Fieldstone. And then Jonah's listening, and he tells his dad, "Come on, I want you to talk to her." And he calls her on the phone, and there's Dr. Marcia. And I want to just give a quote here. Dr. Marcia Fieldstone, people who truly loved once are far more likely to love again. Sam, do you think there's someone out there you could love as much as your wife? Sam, well, Dr. Marcia Fieldstone, that's hard to imagine. What are you going to do, she says. Or I ask, and Sam says, well, I'm going to get out of bed every morning, breathe in and out all day long. Then after a while, I won't have to remind myself to get out of bed every morning and breathe in and out. And then after a while, I won't have to think about how I had it great and perfect for a while.
Such a great line.
It is
so
great line.
Good.
And the thing about it is, Jonah wants his dad to have it great. So here's a child who's giving so much to his father. And I don't think this film is just about a man falling in love with someone who could be his future partner and wife, but also it's about the love of a child for his father.
Yeah.
And I think it's also about the love because his brother and sister-in-law are in the film as well. Mm-hmm. And I think it's about the universal idea that we all have family and people we love. And I think that comes across in this film.
So much, yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's a beautiful film from that point of view.
It's a beautiful film. It's got a great soundtrack to it too. A lot of old kind of musical standards in there. I think Nat King Cole does a song. I can't think off the top of my head a lot of the other ones, but I remember my parents having the soundtrack to this film, and each one of the songs that was on there was just so good, and really fit the film very, very well. Do you have any favorite scenes from this movie, Sue?
Well, everyone knows that probably the great one is whenever Annie, not Annie, but it is Annie, because she goes up to the top of the Empire State Building, and Sam and Jonah have already left because they think there's no one there.
Yeah.
In the same way that Cary Grant felt when Deborah Carr wasn't there, and I think that goes back to a 1957 film, Affair to Remember, and it's constantly referred to, so I want to come back to that. But the other part is she looks down, and right by the telescope is a teddy bear, and she picks it up, and she realizes that Jonah's been there.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the elevator door is open, and there they are, And Jonah says, "Are you Annie?" And at that point, and I even have chills going down my back right now,
Yeah.
just repeating that, because I just think that's such a lovely, sweet moment in which all that is said, "Are you Annie?" And then from there, it moves forward.
Yeah.
And actually, it's the new beginning, I guess we would say at that point. So as I said, it's a film about love, but not just about between a couple, but also love of all.
Yeah. If I can kind of just bring the review down just a little bit, being a critic sometimes, that's just how I am. I love everything about this film except for one scene. One scene always kind of resonated with me. I was like, that doesn't seem like that would work out that way. Close to the very end, to the scene that you were talking about, Annie's having dinner with her fiance, and she kind of spills the beans to him that she's in love with somebody else, and she wants to go see if this love is true or not. And basically, Bill Pullman's character, Walter, yeah, you're right. He's very understanding and very like, okay, well, good luck. To me, I would have expected a little bit more emotion, but at that particular time in the film, we got to wrap it up, so I understand everything. But that one scene to me was kind of like there should have been a little bit more depth with that. But that's just a very, very small gripe.
Well, I understand the gripe, but I think that's the character Walter played all through the film, and that he was, if you remember, they're in the china shop and they both picked the same pattern.
Right.
I think he's so in tune with her. He's in love with her. She's not in love with him.
Yeah.
And I think he loves her so much. Back to what I said, this is a film about love.
Yeah.
I think he's willing, in order for her life to be good, to give that up. And there aren't many people like that, and you're right.
He's a better man than I am.
A better person than I am also, Chris.
Sue, this has been a lot of fun. I love doing reviews with you. You're a lot of fun. You're with the Poplar Bluff Public Library, and let's remind folks that if they are fans of movies, that the Poplar Bluff Public Library is a great place to get movies, and not just old movies like the ones we've reviewed. You guys got new ones. I've rented some of the Best Picture nominees like Moonlight and Hidden Figures and stuff like that. You guys got new movies too, right?
Absolutely. In fact, another one we have now is The Fantastic Beasts and Other Magical Creatures. And we were having a staff meeting this morning and just discussing the fact that the films are going off the shelf so quickly. What do we need to do to get that collection beefed up? Because just as soon as they're out and they have multiple holds, meaning you can put holds on things, and when they're ready, well, you'll get a text message or a email letting you know it's in. So yeah, there's a lot of films, but also Affair to Remember. We're going to, add that to the collection as a result of this, because you can't watch Sleepless without watching that as well.
That's true.
You have to, and you bring it back up. So yeah, buku films is what I would like to say. In addition to our physical collection, we also have our e-collection, and then we have the Hulu, which is our one of our online e-resources, and you can get films there as well. And some of them are first films, some of them are older films, some of them not. In fact, American in Paris is one of the ones that's on there. So
one of those
that really is kind of fun.
What else is going on at the library? Anything going on in late July and early August you want to hit on?
You may be afraid you asked me that question.
We've got a couple minutes, so go ahead and fill.
We have just about 65 events going on this summer, and it ranges from everything from magic shows to fishing classes, and I think that's what's really fun. Tonight, immediately, is Alex Riffle and the Stiff Riffs are playing music on the lawn on the south side in the Sensory Garden. Please come out and join us from 6 to 8. They always do a great performance, and they're always so kind and generous to the library, and we appreciate all that they do for us. In addition to Alex Riffle and the Stiff Riffs, we've got the first fishing class today and tomorrow. Classes, I should say. We also have Nathan Rice, who's going to be doing comic drawing tomorrow. Next week, Marty, the magician, is going to be here. Great fun for the children. And we're doing a show at 2 and 5:30 on Tuesday, and then 10:30 on Wednesday, and then another one, I think, at 2 or 2:30 on Wednesday as well. Tuesday and Wednesday, I should say. So whether you're a working parent and you want to bring your children at 5:30, please do come and join us. And we had Mingo here this past week, but they're going to visit us 2 more times this summer, so I'm excited about that.
Great.
And the Mingo people love coming to the library because they say we bring good crowds, so we're glad to have them. Ring and strings, all kinds of fun things for the kids.
If people want to keep up to date with everything the library has to offer, where do they go?
There's 2 ways of doing that, and one is you can check us, you can like us on Facebook, and we'll get you into, and you'll get to see a lot of the different things that are going on. In addition to that, you go to our webpage, popperbluff.org, and you can see events at the library. Plus, we have a rolling slideshow that tells you all the current things going on. And then there's good old paper if you want to get our newest edition of Off the Shelf at the library as well.
Wonderful. Sue, thank you so much for being on the show, and thank you for dropping some knowledge on Joe versus the Volcano. I appreciate that.
Well, I hope I didn't give it away. I want to say, Chris, I really love this, and I love being able to talk about films. 2 of my favorite things, films and the library.
Very good. It's a match made in heaven. It's right here on the Screen Team. Remember, we want you to know before you go, we'll be back next Saturday at 6 p.m. Sabrina's going to be on the show. It's going to be a wild and crazy show. We've got the movie, it's a musical with Burt Reynolds and Dolly Parton, The Best Whorehouse in Texas. I'm interested to see about that one. We're also doing a new one to DVD. It's called A Monster Calls, and we're going to review the new animated Pixar film, Cars 3. It's all coming your way next Saturday for the Screen Team. For Sue and Chris, we are the Screen Team right here on KWOC.